Hello, welcome to the English News program on Azərbaycan Televiziya. I'm Qabarıq. President İlham Əliyev and First Lady Mehriban Əliyeva viewed conditions created at Gülistan Palace after renovation. Gülistan Palace was constructed on the initiative of national leader Heydər Əliyev in 1979-1980. The construction of this palace was constantly under the personal control of the great leader. He made regular recommendations and instructions for the implementation of work at a high level. It was no coincidence that the Gülistan Palace was considered one of the most modern and unique examples of architecture in the former Soviet Union and beyond. The construction of this palace, which gave the overall architectural appearance of Baku a special character, was an integral part of the activities carried out by the great leader at the time in the development of our capital. During the construction of the palace, elements of the national architecture of Azerbaijan were widely used in its architecture. During all this time, the Gülistan Palace, distinguished by its splendor, architectural style and uniqueness, hosted many events of national and international scale which have historical significance and relate to various spheres. Over time, it became necessary to renovate the Gülistan Palace. Under the leadership of President İlham Əliyev, consistent measures are being taken in our country to implement projects in connection with the development and modernization of social infrastructure, first improve the appearance and beautification of the capital as elsewhere in Azerbaijan, at the same time preserve the historical appearance of Baku and restore historical buildings. Reconstruction of the Gülistan Palace on instructions of the head of state has an important place in a number of works carried out in this regard. The Gülistan Palace in Baku was renovated, preserving its unique architectural style. During the reconstruction work, the main hall with 600 seats as well as the east hall and the conference hall of the palace were brought to the modern level. Located in the highland part of the capital, the Gülistan Palace is one of the most beautiful places from where you can admire the Baku Bay and the panoramic view. The reconstruction of the palace will undoubtedly contribute to the organization of international events by Azerbaijan at a high level and in the post-pandemic period. President İlham Əliyev signed an executive order on awarding military servicemen of armed forces of the Republic of Azerbaijan. According to the executive order, 11,365 servicemen awarded the medal for the liberation of Füzuli, 11,831 servicemen for the liberation of Khojavand, 3,435 servicemen for the liberation of Zengilan, 10,434 servicemen for the liberation of Jabrail, 5,867 military servicemen for the liberation of Gubadli, 5,784 servicemen for the liberation of Shusha, 3,522 servicemen for the liberation of Agdam, 4,225 servicemen for the liberation of Kelbejar, 2,642 servicemen for the liberation of Lachin, 10,647 servicemen were awarded medals for the liberation of Sugovushan. President İlham Əliyev signed another executive order to award servicemen of the armed forces of the Republic of Azerbaijan who showed courage and self-sacrifice during the liberation of the territories of the Republic of Azerbaijan, as well as demonstrated initiative and decisive actions, were awarded the Distinguished Service Medal. According to the executive order, 2 servicemen were awarded Karabakh Order, 28 servicemen were awarded Azerbaijan Flag Order, 13 servicemen were awarded with the 3rd degree Rashadat Order, order, 7 servicemen were awarded with the 3rd degree for service to the motherland order. By other orders of the President, 731 servicemen were awarded the medals for the motherland, 616 servicemen for courage, 2,893 servicemen brave warrior, 786 servicemen for distinguished service, and 1,743 servicemen for military service. President İlham also signed an executive order on awarding servicemen of the Defense Ministry. According to the order, 8 people were awarded with the 3rd degree Rashadat Medal, 21 people were awarded with the 3rd degree for service to the motherland, 57 people for the motherland, 48 people for courage, 6 people were awarded brave warrior, 3 people for distinguished service, 38 people were awarded for the military service medal. The reality reinforced by the Shusha Declaration is a significant motivation for the process of restoration and reconstruction in the region. Azerbaijan gazes into the future, believes in the integration of peace and development in the region, conducts intensive work of the Great Return.
The restoration process of the territories destroyed by the occupier will be a historic event in terms of creating a unique example, just as the liberation of Karabakh from occupation and ensuring Azerbaijan's territorial integrity and international law, which remained on paper for 30 years. The reconstruction process of the territories equal to the size of 4 Luxembourgs and 1 Lebanon require a considerable amount of finances, time and other resources. Armenia's refusal to provide maps of the mined territories poses a serious obstacle to accelerate the process. We managed to get minefield maps from Armenia only for Agdam district. There are hundreds of thousands of mines in other districts. They are refusing to give us the maps, and we already had more than 100 casualties. After the war stopped, almost 30 people were killed, and more than 100 civilians were severely injured from landmines, anti-personnel mines, and anti-tank mines, including 2 journalists who died in the beginning of this month, said President İlham Aliyev. Azerbaijani state's concept for the reconstruction of our villages and cities turned into Hiroshima by the occupant doesn't apply as speedy but first of all quality and innovative restoration, efficient use of alternative energy resources, creation of green zones, creation of smart cities and smart villages are the priority directions of the above-mentioned concept. We have already accumulated all our efforts and mobilized our resources. Big infrastructure projects have already started. Probably you have been informed about that. We will rebuild all our lands, and I think we will demonstrate a unique experience in the world, from this kind of devastation to development and decent living standards for people, said the head of state. The restoration and reconstruction process started by Azerbaijan is closely monitored by the international community as an interesting experience. I think that my visit to Agdam went well, because their special representative showed me the plan for the future. This is a great vision, Mr. President. It is a great pleasure to see the roads, the busy people and the positive dynamics. Azerbaijan has always developed, and this development will grow further, said High Representative for the United Nations Alliance of Civilizations, Miguel Ángel Martínez. Restoration of Karabakh and reintegration of the region with the return of dynamic life will also bring new drivers to the country's economy. If natural resources, alternative energy opportunities, tourism potential of the region turn into important components of its local development, then transport corridors that will pass through the region will strengthen the region as an important platform for cooperation and integration at the international level.
On June 24th, a new military unit complex of the State Border Service started operating in Gubadlı district. Chief of the State Border Service, Elçin Guliyev, stated that after the liberation of our territories from occupation, border protection activities has been launched. Necessary border protection and security infrastructure were established. Within the framework of the event, orders and medals were presented to servicemen awarded by the President, Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, İlham Aliyev, for their bravery and heroism in the great period of war. Then the headquarters, service and administrative rooms, housing for officers, dormitory, fuel and weapons depots, car park, military equipment and ammunition of the military unit were inspected. After the event, a service meeting was held with the participation of the leadership of the Gubadlı Special Border Division. 51 more cases of coronavirus infections have been recorded in Azerbaijan, while 76 people have been recovered and discharged from the hospital. The overall confirmed cases in Azerbaijan have reached 335,676, with 329,870 recoveries and 4,965 deaths. The number of active infections is 841. To detect infection cases, overall 3,706,051 tests have been conducted in Azerbaijan. The task force under the Cabinet of Ministers reported. That was all for the day. Thank you for being with us. Goodbye.